crop it out just like that, and we have all this base 64 stuff. Now what it's time to do is actually give us a preview of what that crop is going to be, like the actual area inside of here. And then what we want to do is turn that into an actual file that we could upload. So it's not going to be base 64 anymore, but it will be an actual file. Or we could actually download it into its form, which would be an image. And we're going to do all of this using what's called a canvas and several functions that we already have created for you. Those are all right here. They're on our blog, and we intend to have more functions like this that will help you with images and files in general with JavaScript. In some cases, we'll give examples like this video or even right there on that blog post. So if you go there, you'll see all of the different functions that we have that we also have created into a one file that's right here. So all of this stuff is absolutely on the GitHub for Try React.js, and you'll be able to find all those things there. So you're going to want to pause the video and either create this file as well, make sure you have the export functions. But again, if you look at this right here, base64 string to file, we've got base64 string to file. Literally the exact same thing, except it has the export feature there. So you're going to want to pause now, go get all those files or all of that code and bring it over to a file itself. So I'm assuming that you have already paused, you've got all of these functions in a file, and they're all ready to be exported. So what I'm going to do in my image and data crop method here is I want to import all of them. But the first one I'm going to import is just this image 64 to canvas ref. And the reason for that is that I want to just go ahead and show you how to take any sort of image data, right? So the image 64 data that we've already seen, this read data as URL stuff. We want to take that data and put it into a canvas. And for us, we wanted to just preview the cropped image, right? So we want to preview it based off of this pixel crop. And if you actually look at that function itself, we have a canvas reference, which we haven't created yet, but the base 64 image, that's this, and then the pixel crop, that's this. So that's two things that we've already done. The only thing that we haven't done is create this canvas reference. And of course, if you don't have React, this is probably not going to work for you, so it's going to be maybe a little confusing. But for those of us who are using React, we can ignore this create element. But we want to create an HTML element called a canvas, right? So down here inside of our div tag for that image source, remember, img source is in base 64, which you could reverse engineer to figure out what it is, but it's all coming from that reader, right? So it's the result from that. So that reader turns it into that base 64 stuff, and we're able to use it. So I actually want to put my canvas in here, and I'll just put a break tag and then do a preview canvas crop. And we'll close that off. And then I'll just put canvas here. Okay, so that is an HTML element, canvas. You can use it for all sorts of things like drawing. So what I'm about to do can be used for drawing as well. So if you drew something in this canvas, you'd be able to use some of these methods to download those as images as well. Okay, so I've got my canvas here, and what I want to do is use this as a reference. So that means in my constructor, I want to go ahead and say this dot, image preview canvas equals to, react.create ref. Right? So I'm just creating a reference to that canvas, and all I do here is do this create this.ref is equal to that reference that I created. So I could call this canvas ref. That probably makes a little bit more sense. Image preview canvas ref. Okay. So now that we've got this reference, I can use it inside of that method, right? So that method was asking for that canvas reference. So where am I going to call it? And I'm going to call it in this handle crop complete. Now, why is that? We've got this pixel crop. That is why. So first and foremost, what is our canvas? We'll go ahead and say canvas ref equals to, this dot canvas, or not image.64, but rather it's the one that we just created. Image preview canvas rep dot current. Because of how we created that reference, we want to use current. Okay, so we've got that. We've got the pixel crop. And then we finally just need the image 64, which we should know is the image source. So that original image source, it's the original image because we're just going to be displaying the crop based off of that original image. So it's in our state. So we just can go ahead and say const image source equals to this.state. So we now have the three things needed to be able to do this image 64 to canvas ref. So all I can do is come back down here and we call it. So again, first thing, canvas ref, then the actual base 64 image. Oops, we need to put some curly brackets around there, or the braces around it. And then finally, our pixel crop. Okay, so this method was absolutely built specifically to do all the things I just did. But the main thing here is we have some canvas, we grab some base 64 data, and then we crop that same exact data, or that same image, which is going to be the original image. We're going to crop it down so our canvas actually fits with the crop and not the original image. Right? So we don't actually need to display the original image in a canvas per se. I mean, you could do it, but I don't need to. What I need to display is just the crop, and that's what this is doing. We've already showed you how to display the image otherwise. And that's it. That's all I actually have to do to display the cropped image. It already is in there with the canvas, and since we've referenced the canvas, all of this stuff is going to update as needed. So let's take a look. All right, so I come in here and I grab an image that, well, is definitely visible, so I can see what it is. Go ahead and open that up. I don't actually have a crop yet, so I haven't changed or done anything on this crop. So if I select a crop now, there it is. And if I drag it around, it's showing me that crop, and it's updating as needed. Obviously, all the things are being console logged. I still have that data in there being console logged as well. But we now have that image showing up in the canvas. It's another way to just show that preview, right? If I close this out, it's just another way to show what's in this box. But for us, on a technical level, though, what it's actually doing is it's building the basis to not only show that crop, but then to turn it into a downloadable file or an uploadable file. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've got that, how do I actually create a downloadable file? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a button right underneath this. So I'll say button, and we'll say download. All I'm going to do here is download this actual button. So what I want to do then is say handle button download, or handle download click. Okay, and that takes in an event by default, and we'll just do event.prevent default there. Okay, so naturally we just put it on click event here, this.handle download click. Okay, so this right here is going to grab some of the same data, right? So let's just grab this right here, and we've got some of the same data. Okay, and now what we need to do is look at some of these other methods. First of all, extract image file extension from base 64. Essentially, is this a PNG image or is it a JPEG image? Like the original one, what is that? And that's what I want to grab. So I definitely want to import that. And this is useful for grabbing the file name. So whatever the file name is, this is how I'm going to grab it. The extension, that is. So I want to be able to grab the extension. So we'll just do const and file extension equals to that file extension from base 64. And we already have the base 64 from that state. There it is right there. So all that's going to do is send back like PNG or JPEG. That's it. So that also means that I can create a file name then. So file name equals to, well, let's just say preview file, and then plus, well, the file extension. But of course I need to add the dot in here. So I now have, my file name. Now, of course, I could do this based off of another input. You could write out your own file name. You could do it off of dates. You can do off of all sorts of things. But the important part here is we have our extension, we have our file name, and that's coming from that basic method there. Not a huge deal here. So the next thing is that we have two other options now. And one of them is to download. One is to create an image or a file that we would end up uploading. So I'm going to show you both of them, right? So like the first one is file to be uploaded. So file to be uploaded is this base64 string to file. It's sort of going in the reverse of what we've done. It's going in reverse of this, right? But now it's going to be going off of the cropped image. It's not going to be going just based off of the file image, which I still have to do. I haven't done the crop image portion just yet because I'm just kind of setting the stage for it, essentially. So we're going to import that. I'm going to just bring it in here. And let's put it into alphabetical order for our imports, just so it's a little easier to read, and it's also directly related to how they are in our JavaScript file there. And then I also downloaded the other one. Okay, so I've got my base64 string to file. So this is where I do const my new cropped file equals to base64 string to the file. And notice it takes in 2 arguments, the actual base64 string, which I have one, that's the image source, and then the file name, which I also have, right? So right here, this is just that original file. I actually don't have the crop file here just yet. But then I can also use that same idea to download a file, which I have downloaded base64 file here. I'm showing you these things on purpose, right? So download file. And all I need to do is execute this one, call it actually, right? So img source and my file name. Okay, so that's how I'm going to handle this click. This click event will, it creates the file here so I can console log that file. And in fact, while I'm doing this console logging, I might as well get rid of some of these other console logs that I just don't need anymore, like the image, don't need that. All right, and I also don't need to console log the base64 loaded related stuff anymore either. Okay, so all I should have a console log is the file itself. So if I click on this, what it's going to do is it's going to give me the crop stuff, right? So the crop stuff's in here. If I click on download, it should rename it, but also give me a new file. So I hit download, and it looks like I got an error. Ah, yeah, a little spelling error. That's great. So this should be prevent default. Oops, sorry about that. So now it should work. Let's try it again. Crop. The download button is there. I hit download. And what do you know? We've got our preview file here. And we also have a file here. So this is actually that same file. Literally the same file. It's just it's been changed. The file name is now previewfile.png versus the original one. So if I click on previewfile.png, of course, what does it do? It opens up the original file. No big deal there. Okay, so now, how is it that I download the new file, the cropped file? How do I actually download that? Well, that's where we come in here. Instead of image source being from the state, we're going to do it from the canvas. So the canvas that we just used. So I'm just going to go ahead and say const, and we'll call it image data 64 instead, just to know that it's different than the image source. That's all. Of course, you know, after experience, you'll know that it's different, but we're just going to grab that canvas, whatever that canvas is, and then just do to data URL, and it's going to take the image itself, and then we want to grab what the file extension is. So I'm just going to, you know, swap these out and put that file extension here. Okay, so to data URL, it's going to use that file extension to make sure that it is the correct file itself. And then now I have a new data item here. So image source down here, we can change, save all that, and let's try this again. So I click here and upload. I'm going to upload a file, and we're going to crop just the React. Well, it's a square, so I actually can't just crop whatever I want. I'll just do the logo. Okay, so the logo is now in a square. And we have the preview here. I hit download. I open up the download. What do you know? There is my now cropped image. Of course, I actually don't have it going off the screen, right? So like it won't do that. It's only cropping inside of the image. So like it's not like Photoshop where I could probably move it above and then, you know, it autofill and all that stuff. Like those are things that are just definitely getting way more advanced than most likely what you'll need, you know, because again, you're probably going to use this more for cropping someone's face out of something, not trying to make their logo right in the center or something. I mean, you might do that, but that again is just more advanced. So now I can download it as many times as I want, right? It's pretty cool. And then here, obviously, if I hit download, you could also have that go upload, and then that would be sent to your backend in some form or fashion. Pretty cool. But we're not quite done yet. So this file name extension, I actually might want to use this in other places. So what do we do here? Well, I actually want to bring this into my state that would be here, right? So the state is actually where I want to put this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out and say image source extension or something like that, and then just grab it in here. And you can still use the result, but I'm just going to go ahead and do const my result equals to that. Okay, so now I have my image source extension down here and base that off of this.state instead of what I had it as with that file extension. And of course, this also assumes that we actually have an image in general. So again, I'll just go ahead and say if image source, oops, since we've got that, let's go ahead and bring it up here. If image source, then I'll actually allow the download to even happen or the upload to even happen and all that. So I'm putting it in the actual click method itself, but I also probably want to put it inside of the download method. I don't actually have to because the download method, it's right there, image source. Okay, so I'm not quite done yet. There is still one more thing that I want to do, and just in case, and that is just sort of clearing all this stuff out. So if I go here and hit download, I probably want to clear everything out, and then my server would send back a response, and I could display the actual final uploaded image there. So to clear all this stuff out, I'm going to make a method called handle default clearing, or clear to default, handle clear to default, something like that. And again, we're going to use an event, equal to the event, and an arrow method. And we just want to set our state back to whatever it is. Now, the first thing is I want to grab my canvas because I absolutely want to be able to set my canvas back. And all you do here is this, right? So you just clear out whatever rectangle's in there. That clears out my canvas just fine. And then my state, so the two things that I need are image source and source this. So this dot set state and img source. I'm going to set that to null again. And then my extension, I did not put it in my initial state, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that as well and put that also to null. Okay, so I can pretty much grab all these, right? And just set that to my initial state, just like that. And then handle, just call it out like that. That will call it. It doesn't matter if we pass the event in this case. Yeah, so then the next thing would be the button, and on click again equals to this dot, and we'll just do clear button. Okay, I actually will pass the event, and we'll just say if event dot prevent default. Okay, cool. So now I can actually clear out all this stuff as well. We're getting canvas is not defined. That's right. So this should be canvas, just like that. Okay. So now let's go ahead and try it out. Just to clear everything out, I just click on clear, clears everything out, brings me back to that initial state. And if I download something, small part, I hit download, it also brings me back to that initial state, but yet that image is being cropped. Sweet. Hopefully you guys like this. I think this is actually really pretty useful of a feature to have, to be able to drag and drop an image, crop it, do all of those things. So I'm actually going to do one more video, something that I've been kind of hanging on to for a while, which is just using a image upload field in lieu of the drag and drop zone.